I, Margot G.K., the Town Clerk of the Town of Morristown, do hereby state that it is 7:30 p.m. on Tuesday, June 13th, 2023, and that we are in Council Chambers, 200 South Street, Morristown, New Jersey. Both electronic and adequate notice of this meeting were provided according to law by written notice to the Morristown Daily Record, the official newspaper of the Town of Morristown, and to the Newark Star Ledger, both more than 48 hours ago. Notice was also posted on the bulletin board at Town Hall and filed with the office of the Town Clerk of the Town of Morristown. I do further state that I shall enter into the minutes of this meeting a statement that such notice was furnished as particularly described by me in this public announcement. I will take a roll call. Councilman Armington.
Here.
Councilwoman Cotton.
Present.
Councilwoman Foster.
Here.
Councilman Iannacone.
Here.
Councilman Silva.
Present.
Councilman Umbriac.
Here.
Council President Mayer.
Here.
Ms. Mayer, you have a quorum.
Thank you. May you all have a moment of silence, please.
Council President, if I may, if we could please keep third grade teacher at Alexander Hamilton, Laura Emanuel, who's been missing since June 7th, in our thoughts and prayers this evening.
Thank you. Can everybody please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Consent agenda.
Okay, before that, I want to make one announcement, please. Land Use Ordinance O-11-2023 has been withdrawn. It was supposed to be a public hearing this evening, but the ordinance has been withdrawn, and it will be reintroduced at a future meeting. Okay, on with the show. There are 4 items on the consent agenda this evening. Do any members of council want to pull any? If not, I would ask for a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve consent agenda items 1 through 4.
I'll second.
Councilman Armington?
Yes.
Councilwoman Cotton?
Yes.
Councilwoman Foster?
Yes.
Councilman Iannacone?
Yes.
Councilman Silva?
Yes.
Councilman Umbriac?
Yes.
Council President Mayer?
Yes.
Motion carries. At this time, I will open the floor for a public hearing on the adoption of the 2023 municipal budget. Kindly state your name and address and limit your comments to 5 minutes or less. Be advised that any derogatory comments targeting members of council and/or administration may be ruled out of order. No comments were received via email.
Is there anybody in chambers that would like to come and speak about the municipal budget? Frank? No? All right, we'll close public comments.
And then I will reopen the public hearing for any matter. Any member of the public want to come up and speak? Go ahead.
Sure. Billy, why don't you come up, start, and we'll go around the room.
Good evening. My name is Bill Byrne, and I live at 100 Franklin Street. And I just want to say I was at the Caldwell Playground, and my good friend Councilwoman Sheba knows this. And I'm happy to say I was checking the restrooms, making sure they're ADA compliant. They are ADA compliant, so I was real happy about that. So thank you, Councilwoman Sheba. And Sandy Mayer, thank you. But also I found some deficiencies. Councilwoman Sheba knows of one. And there's a railing down by the far end of the basketball court. It's a metal gray one, and it's like really loose. And so until they can get that fixed, I think they should tape it off so nobody, so a little kid doesn't climb up on there and gets hurt. So, and there's a railing out here on the upper part that's loose. So you may want to check that out. Thank you.
Thanks, Bill.
Thanks, Bill.
Good evening, Oliver McNally. Good evening, Mayor. I'm not sure if one of my gardeners passed away, Mayor, but he wanted Sydney, who's very close to Maureen. He told me last year that he paid for his plot and that if I don't see him, more likely he left. But the second thing he said, Mayor, was that during all the construction on Ann Street, he didn't see one black face. This is a 93-year-old man born the same year as my dad. So I mean, he's seen a lot of stuff in America, sir. And he said he's insulted that for the construction at Ann Street, he did not see one black face. I spoke a couple of times about having OSHA in anticipation of the construction coming up in Ward 2. So it would be a shame, your mayor. It would be a shame. It would be a hardened shame that not one black man from Morristown Ward 2 has a job or a subcontractor when they are. So what I asked before when I spoke to the business unit, businessmen, is that before contracts are hired, that there should be some stipulation in there that the diversity clause is in there. The diversity clause is in there. And that we should be out there sending out to minority contracts. We have a company here, ILS, that does painting. I worked with him and did painting in Floral Parks and different pharmaceuticals. He's qualified to do paving markers. ILS, something international stuff. He's noted around Ward 2. I believe he has a relationship with some people in Manahan Village. But that's a man that should, one day is a contract for painting stripes in Morristown. A contract should be set out for a black company, especially black males. So the OSHA part, Your Honor, the OSHA part, and then when I was there yesterday with Tawana, helping Mary with her garden, there was a gentleman up on the roof without tied on, and I showed it to Tawana. She saw it. He was not tied on, and that's an OSHA violation right away that could shut down the operation. He had the harness belt, everything else was there, but he was not tied on, and he was actually leaning over, tapping on the side of the gutter. So I ask, Your Honor, Mayor, please check with those companies, and please let's get at least 100 black men hired in this construction. Please, let's look at it, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Please come on up.
Hello, I'm Mike Molnar with the Morristown Police. I have with me Keith Hudson and Mr. Dave O'Hare. We're here representing the PBA Local 43, and as you may recall, every year we partner with the Garden State Comic Fest, and we try to give back to the community a little bit. So this year we have a new print, which I'd like to present to all of you, the first copies, as we've done in years past. This year we did the Hulk, and he's wearing one of our supporter shirts. Most of it ripped off, but you can still see the patch there. So we will be giving out 300 total, 150 each day at the Garden State Comic Fest, which is located at Menon Sports Arena. Again, this is our 6th year doing this, and it is actually going to be June 24th and 25th. 24th is 10 to 6, 10 to 5, and 10 to 4 on the Sunday. So if you would allow me, I'd like to give you each one of these, and I'll turn it over to Dave if you have some comments.
Well, again, thank you so much for letting me come in here and speak to you guys. And this is a great thing that we have going here. It's great for the community. It's great for the local town, the local businesses, the money that we bring into your community. It's quite a bit. But we do it because we just love comics, and we love to help kids be able to read. And, you know, sorry, I'm not a very good public speaker. My ex-partner was very good at it. But, you know, this is our 9th year in Morristown, and next year will be our 10-year anniversary. So next year we're going to try to blow it out of the water even a little bit bigger. But we'd love to do more if we could. So, you know, I'd like to give you guys all 2 free tickets to the show. If you'd like to come out, check it out. If you haven't been there before, let me know what you think afterwards, and let's see what we can do from there.
That's good.
Wonderful.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Sandy, please cross sign for me.
Can we have some for Tawana?
Sure.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Sure, Tawana.
Thank you.
Thank you.
maybe. I have a bunch of kids.
So, just to continue on, sorry, real quick. This year, we have Greg Hildebrandt coming back in. He is the first person that ever drew the Star Wars poster back in 1977. He lives in Lake Hopatcong. He is a New Jersey resident. We have Graham Nolan coming down, who was the creator of Bane, who was in the most recent Batman movies and, breaking Batman's back. We have April Balby coming in from 2.5 Men and Doom Patrol. We have some of the cast of the Justice League, as well as Ari Lehman, who played the first Jason, Friday the 13th, that was shot here in New Jersey, as well as Dan Fogler, who was from Mystical Beasts and the J.K. Rowling movies. So, we have a pretty good lineup this year, and I think you guys will be impressed. So, that's about it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate that.
Sounds amazing.
Is there anybody else that wants to speak? From the public?
Okay, close the public hearing.
Close it. Everybody said? Max?
He's going to come up.
Oh, okay. Okay, thank you.
All right. Thank
All right,
you.
we'll close the public hearing, and we'll open it up for council response.
I'd like to respond.
Sure, go ahead, Twani.
So I'd like to thank Mr. McNally for coming in. I'm speaking regarding OSHA. I haven't had the opportunity to do any real due diligence on looking it up and fully understanding it. And I would like to do that. But I thank him for bringing that up. He did, as he said, reach out to me. Would be a violation if that's something we participated in with OSHA. But so I just want to acknowledge that we spoke about it and that it may be something that we should look into. So thank you.
Thanks. Bobby, say something?
Why don't we do some research on that, on the diversity spend? Because I'm familiar somewhat with state regulations when it does relate to purchasing, and a lot of the protections and/or the encouragement of diversity spend is built into either standard state terms and conditions, even with the state GPOs when you participate with the GPO. So, to say that it's not being done probably may not be fair, because there's probably a lot of regulations put in place that actually are encouraging and/or I know where I work, and I do work, in a public facility, and the reality is we do track diversity spend, and the state is very supportive in actually giving us the information on that, where you're measuring the WEB, the MEB, the minority, the women, small business, and veterans. But it probably is something we should just take a look at to see, what are we doing? I don't think I think we're going to find that it's not so much what we're not doing, but I think we might actually be surprised at what we are doing. But it is an important topic, and it's an important topic too, that you actually level the playing field for people to participate, and you do make sure that you're not just tracking contractors, but you're also tracking who they're subcontracting to make sure that they're being respectful of the goals and objectives that either the town may have set, but I'm certain that the state has set for us. So I think
This
it's
was a
worth looking
housing
at.
authority, the Ann Street project was housing authority.
It's going to be
It was-
more,
I don't know if it was,
it's probably going to be more strict there with HUD.
no, but we
because
didn't have
HUD
input into who was hired, but we can look
Yeah,
at the
but those
diversity
protections
for
are
the
probably
rest.
in there with HUD too. But, it is just, and sometimes all you need to do is do what the gentleman did tonight, which is call it to people's attention.
Right.
And then they take a look at it for you, So,
And I just want to thank Billy for bringing to our attention, when things are a little bit askew in the town, it's good to have eyes on everything, to bring it to our attention, appreciate that.
Bob, can you, Jillian's on vacation, but can you reach out to her and find out what the
Tim and I,
program is?
we'll talk.
Okay.
Yeah,
It's
it was-
interesting. I actually like this whole area. I find it pretty
I would
interesting.
like to comment when you guys roll.
Yeah, thanks.
Mayor Doherty, did you want to add any comments?
Yeah, the only thing is, when Madera was built, they did reach out for local hiring, and they did hire locals. when they built Madero. The Ann Street project, the Early Street project is out of our purview. It is the Housing Authority HUD federal project. We have no authority, absolutely no authority over what they do, but I will bring that concern to Keith Kennard's attention, to bring it to Orbach's attention, who is the contractor for those projects. So thank you for bringing it forward.
Thank you. And we will move on to mayor's proclamations and presentations, please.
All right. A few.
No problem.
What a night there.
Sorry, I was a few minutes late. Hello, Reverend. How are you? Reverend Cynthia Black of Church of the Redeemer. Did I get that right? And for the record, that's where I was married, in the Redeemer. And I've asked the Reverend to accept this proclamation on behalf of Pride Month after a very long conversation with the Reverend. And we are very fortunate to have you in our community. And we look forward to many, many years of working together.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So if you don't mind, I'll read this to the record, then have you
Sure.
say a few words and accept this on behalf of the town.
Sure.
June is recognized as Pride Month, a celebratory time that brings the LGBTQ plus community and its allies together to lift up LGBTQ plus people, culture, and progress. According to GLAAD, Pride Month commemorates the anniversary of the Stonewall Rebellion in New York City on June 28, 1969, which most consider to be the birth of the modern LGBTQ plus movement. At the time, police raids on the bars catering to lesbian, gay, and trans patrons were common. But that night, the patrons of the Stonewall Inn fought back and ignited a national firestorm of activism that brought new visibility to the struggle for gender, sexual identity, and sexual orientation equality. Pride Month marks an opportunity to take stock and recognize progress. It is also a time to recommit to resisting attempts to deny dignity and freedom to members of the LGBTQ plus community. It also provides opportunities for the community to come together and celebrate in a festive, affirming atmosphere. Support of anti-hate crime laws, equal rights for all Americans, outlawing discrimination in our schools, housing, and in the workplace, and equal adoption rights for all Americans is imperative and strengthens our entire community. Morristown's vibrant character is strengthened by the rich diversity of its ethnic, cultural, racial, gender, and sexual identities of its residents. All residents of Morristown are encouraged to recognize the importance of supporting our LGBTQ plus community and to ensuring that all residents are empowered to live their lives open and fairly, without fear and with the support of their peers, educators, community, and community leaders. Now therefore, I, Timothy P. Doherty, Mayor of the Town of Morristown, do proclaim June 2023 as LGBTQ plus Pride Month in the Town of Morristown and call upon the residents of Morristown to join in Pride Month celebrations which highlight the need to work together and promote equal rights for all. Thank you. I accept this on behalf of the administration and the council and the community. Thank you.
Well, most importantly, I want to say what a pleasure it is to be able to work in a community that is as supportive as Morristown is. And that was just made so clear to us 13 days ago on the front lawn of Redeemer when so many of you turned out to help us remember that love wins and that here in Morristown that hate will not win. And it was a beautiful opportunity for healing after a sad thing happened in our midst. But the reality is that hate is real in our world, and it doesn't appear to be going away. So I'm grateful that the council and with the leadership of the mayor would continue to uphold these kinds of principles. I know that without that kind of leadership and without that kind of witness to the community, it's possible for hate to get a foothold. And so I thank you for this opportunity, and thank all of you for your continued support of Redeemer and my fellow LGBTQ plus friends. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, yes, for the record, the Reverend had input into the proclamation, which is the first in 14 years I've been here, Reverend, that someone had an input in the proclamation. So thank you on behalf of the administration. I want to bring up Pastor Mann, Lance Mann. Does everybody know Pastor Mann?
Sure.
I've had the pleasure of meeting with Pastor a few times and at his celebration, and he's been so honored with us to come here and accept this proclamation on behalf of the community for Juneteenth Day. So I'm going to read this into the record, and then you can say a few words. Whereas the United States of America is comprised of people from every nation on earth who are declared equal, not only in freedom, also in justice, both of which are essential for a healthy human civilization. Juneteenth is the oldest widely commemorated celebration of the end of slavery in the United States. Juneteenth is also known as Freedom Day or Emancipation Day. It dates back to June 19, 1865, when Union soldiers finally arrived in Galveston, Texas, and read General Order No. 3 announcing the end of slavery, a full 2.5 years after President Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation. Celebrations of Juneteenth began in Texas in 1866, with community events such as parades, cookouts, prayer gatherings, musical performances, historical cultural readings. Some communities purchased land for Juneteenth celebrations. As freed families immigrated from Texas to other parts of the United States, they carried the Juneteenth celebration with them. In 2004, the New Jersey State Legislature designated the third Saturday of June of each year as Juneteenth Independence Day, and in September 2021, Governor Phil Murphy signed a law making Juneteenth a state holiday. Now, therefore, I, Timothy P. Doherty, Mayor of the Town of Morristown, do hereby proclaim June 19th, 2023 as Juneteenth Day in the Town of Morristown. This is a time of commemoration and reflection of a pivotal moment in history, and I encourage residents to join in Juneteenth celebrations throughout our community. Thank you, Pastor. And to second this, please say a few words to the public.
Mayor Doherty, to Council President Mayor, and to all of the members of the Council of Morristown, and to all of you. I am extremely honored to accept this proclamation. I echo the words of the pastor of the Church of the Redeemer, how it's good to be in a town that can celebrate diversity and that can recognize major accomplishments in the lives of its citizens. I also echo that this world, it's still full of hate. And although we've come a long way since 1866, we still have a ways to go. And my prayer is that we will not allow anyone to pull any community backwards into time or into history, but we continue to move forward. Thank you, Mayor, for this proclamation. Thank you, Council. It's my pleasure.
Okay, and my last proclamation is Max. This is actually a certificate of recognition and achievement. Come on up. Make sure I get the word right here. Come stand right here. Max Bellomonte? Bellomente. I almost got it right this time. Okay, you can just stand to the left a little bit. This will pick us up. I'm going to read this into the record for a certificate of recognition and achievement for what you've accomplished. Okay? And then say a few words after. Okay. Max Bellomente I got it. A senior at Morristown High School is hereby recognized for creating and promoting and managing the Morristown Flag Design Competition. Residents who were invited to name and describe their flag, by others also detailing the color scheme and symbols used. A 4-member selection committee, which included Max and representatives from the Town Council Library Board and a flag expert, were appointed to choose 3 finalists. Residents were then asked to vote on the best design. After 2 weeks and an overwhelming response, Morristown chose its flag. As mayor, I recognize Max Bellamente for his hard work, which has resulted in a meaningful and recognizable flag that the town of Morristown can be proud of. And it's got our seal on it, and thank you so much for your hard work and involvement.
Are we going to find out what flag won?
Who won?
Unveiling.
What's in the box?
Well, I actually had something prepared. So, I'll start off by saying that I'm thrilled to announce the conclusion of this contest. We had a great run. Everything went super smoothly. And I'm really grateful for your support. Had it not been for the work of you, Mayor Doherty, and Julian Barrick, who is not here right now, and of course the rest of the town council, the Morristown flag would probably never fly. So this flag that I have right here will serve not only as an emblem of our unity in Morristown, but it'll be an encapsulation to this council and this administration's dedication to our town and our community. The work that I put in, the work that you guys put in, and the work that our community put in will be encapsulated now forever above the Morristown skyline. And there's no better symbol to do this with than our contest's winner.
Drum roll.
Drum roll.
Anthony, we need a drum roll.
Which is
Number 3.
very big. The two. So, for anyone who is interested in the meaning of this flag, the 2 stars represent the 2 times Washington encamped in Morristown. Washington's profile is a big nod to our town's revolutionary past, and the colors of the flag represent Morristown's fundamental role in the founding of our nation. I have a lot more of these coming. I'm in the process of ordering some to put up on town buildings to further that sense of immortalization of this symbol. And I think it is also necessary to the process in terms of that, immortalization, that we legally adopt this flag with like a proclamation or a resolution. And that's what I have to say. Thank you guys so much. It wouldn't have happened without you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Max.
Actually, Max, it wouldn't have happened without you, so thank you. It was a wonderful process when I was on the committee. We had incredible meetings teaching us all about it, and my flag won, so.
That is true. You're welcome. And also, one more thing I forgot to say is that tomorrow is actually Flag Day. It'd be a great day to hang this flag, the one in my hands, up on the green. Or I could just give it to you guys to put somewhere here, get an extra pole maybe, hang it up beside the American flag.
Why don't you hand it off to
Yeah, hand it to-
we'll
yep.
take care of it.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Max.
Great job, Max.
Thank you.
Great job.
It really is.
I want to finish?
Sure, go ahead.
Sunday, May 28th, Morristown Rotary Original Music Festival was held at Ledgerwood. At the gazebo, they have music, games, and activities. On the 29th, Memorial Day service was at the Morristown Green on the 29th. Thank all council members that attended both events. Thank you, Nathan, for speaking on my behalf on the 29th. Saturday, June 3rd and 4th, Morris County had an Art Association annual art show at the Vale Mansion, which was well-attended and very, very good. The 7th was the grand opening for TB Yoga House at 12 Community Place. Tara Burney is the proprietor of the new yoga studio, and some journey she's on. If you were there, it was very emotional, and we wish her great success. And I told her we're going to do a team building yoga thing, Bob, at her thing.
I'll be there with you.
All right, all right. Saturday, June 10th, Our Youth, Their Future annual youth rally was at Caldwell Park, but I'd like the councilwoman to speak about it briefly.
Just like to thank all of the participating organizations who came out to celebrate Our Youth, Their Future's 14th annual youth rally. We had organizations who participated, Hope One. Thank you to our fire department. The fire truck was down there. The kids were very excited. They got to experience firsthand, all of the mechanisms that go along with the fire truck, the beeping, the horns, and all of that stuff. So we're very appreciative for the fire department's participation. We had Traumatic Loss Coalition. We had the NAACP, and we also had Zufall Health Services. We had a slew of volunteers this year. We were able to secure some support from the Morristown High School's Key Club. So we had a bunch of youth volunteers that came to help with setup all the way down to cleanup. We had food donations through Wegmans. Thank you, Councilman Nate Umbriack, for securing that support for us, as well as Councilman Silva from Central Biblical, who gave us a taste of the Hispanic culture. So we had that food. Horseshoe Tavern was a big donator, and so was Homestead Bar and Kitchen. We also had support of Tyrian Lodge and the Beth Seda Chapter Number 7, who helped serve the food. Of course, Mayor Doherty, we always are thankful for your support for the inflatable houses. We had some youth participation. We had a basketball tournament, and it really was just a joyous day. The weather was great amidst all the smog that we had, prior to. But we had a beautiful sunny day, and the kids really, really enjoyed the event. So hopefully we'll be able to have these same organizations and more participate next year when we celebrate our 15th annual youth rally. So thank you. It was education, awareness, and it was a fun event for all. So thank you for everybody who helped to make it a huge success.
And just to piggyback on that, it is very hard to stay committed year after year after year to do these types of events, and this councilwoman has stayed committed, and the results show themselves. It was an amazing event. You're being very humble. It was well attended, a lot of kids, a lot of activity. The community came out, and because it is about the children, and you should take great pride in knowing that you've stuck with something this many years, and it's really paying off. So thank you on behalf of people I represent, which is the town of Morristown. So thank you, Councilwoman.
Thank you.
June 17th, noon to 5, Juneteenth Festival at Morris County at Pioneers Plaza. That's in between 1776 and Headquarters Plaza. Live entertainment, music, dance, food, drink, health pavilion, vendors, and face painting. That's noon to 5 on Saturday. Sunday, June 18th through the 19th, the Farmers Market opens on Spring and Morris Streets, but I'm sure the liaison for the parking authority partnership will talk about that. Tuesday, congratulations to MHS, Morristown High School graduation class. They graduate on Tuesday, 6:30 p.m. On Thursday, the 22nd, for those who have been anticipating and waiting forever for 7-Eleven to reopen, because I know some people love 7-Eleven coffee. I have a neighbor that loves 7-Eleven coffee. Their grand opening is 11 o'clock on Thursday, June 22nd. So if you want to come to the opening, we will be there. And on Saturday, June 24th, Spring Rabies Clinic at Town Hall, 11 to 1. It is a big event. A lot of people come for the Spring Rabies Clinic. So get in early, check the website out for whatever you have to do, if you have to register, etc. That's at townofmorristown.org. And that is it, Council President. Thank you.
Thank you. So we'll move on to council liaison reports. Tawana, are you reading Shade Tree or mine?
I will read the Shade Tree report. So thank you, Council President. Okay, so on June 3rd, the Shade Tree Commission mulched 28 trees in Ledgerwood Park. On June 10th, the Shade Tree Commission mulched 22 trees and the large bed of native shrubs and evergreens in Jacob Ford Park. Special thanks to Councilman Iannacone and Council President Mayer for their help. Volunteer help needed on Saturday, June 24th at 11:30 a.m. until 1:30 p.m. at George Gregory Park for tree mulching and pollinator garden meeting. There are 21 medium-sized hazard trees from inventory. Removal begins this week. Shade Tree Commission, 2 young tree crew members completed advanced schooling at Rutgers University and received certificates. Thank you.
Thank you.
Council Mayor, if I may, I forgot to add and thank Councilwoman Tawana Cotton for showing up and participating and being present on behalf of herself and her daughter at our youth event as well. So my apologies, Tawana, for not acknowledging that. You were there to support us as well.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Meeting was canceled due to elections.
Okay. Mr. Umbriak.
Partnership meets tomorrow morning.
Okay. Mr. Iannacone.
Sure. The Morristown Housing Authority actually met last week. It was a special meeting. They did adopt the budget for the budget year commencing in October of 2022, ending this October of 23. They also are planning a retreat this summer to kind of have a discussion on what is their role and what they will be doing going forward in light of the changes in the change of ownership and financing structure of the housing in the city of Morristown.
Can you report that on us?
I will.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, no, I'm actually not at the retreat. It's for board members only.
Okay, never mind. Thank you. We'll move on to regular business. Margot?
Oh,
Sorry. Threw that right back to you.
okay. There are 3 ordinances on the agenda for introduction. Ordinance O-15-2023, bond ordinance providing for various capital improvements in and by the town of Morristown and the county of Morris, New Jersey, appropriating $2.1 million therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $1,995,000 bonds or notes of the town to finance, part of the cost thereof.
I'll make a motion to introduce ordinance O-15-2023.
I'll second.
Are there any comments or questions? Okay, on the introduction of ordinance O-15-2023, Councilman Armington.
Yes.
Councilman Cotton.
Yes.
Councilman Foster.
Yes.
Councilman Iannacone.
Yes.
Councilman Silva.
Yes.
Councilman Umbriak.
Yes.
Council President Mayer.
Yes.
Ordinance 15-2023 has been properly introduced by title and will be considered further after a public hearing on June 27th. Ordinance number O-16-2023, ordinance appropriating $565,000 from the Sewer Capital Improvement Fund for various sewer improvements in and by the town of Morristown and the county of Morris, New Jersey.
I'll make a motion to introduce ordinance O-16-2023.
I'll second.
Any comments or questions?
I do have a comment and perhaps a question for Anthony DeVizio, our chief engineer, since Jillian Barrick's not with us. There's been a lot of comments and questions in regards to the sewage, the capacity at the plant with all the new buildings in town. I privately asked Anthony, but I'd invite him to come and speak publicly in terms of appropriating this money, $565,000, what that will go towards. Are we at capacity? Are we near capacity? Do we have a lot of capacity at the sewage treatment plant? If you could, I know it's for repairs, but the questions come up quite frequently, publicly and privately to myself, around the capacity of the sewage plant with all of the new buildings.
Okay.
Can you come up and
You
speak to
can,
that?
Anthony. I mean, I could answer it, but you can come up. We have a lot of room in our sewer.
I know, but for the record and for the public's knowledge.
Yes, no problem. We have those answers ready. As far as the capital budget goes, a lot of that goes towards infrastructure repairs for the sewer lines. We do a lot of sewer spot repairs. Our pipes are old, but they're in good shape. We have the occasional, cracks and sags that we have to take care of. There's also some monies for capital improvements at the plant itself for such things as pump replacements and conveyor belts and other pieces of the mechanical. Again, the sewer superintendent and his staff are really, well-versed in the nuances of it. I have more of a general oversight of it. As far as capacity, I did speak to our sewer super before the meeting tonight. I got him on the phone, and we are well under capacity. To not get into all the nuances of it. Capacity, you can define in two separate terms. We have the physical capacity of the plant, which is actual sizing of the infrastructure. How big are the tanks? How big is the piping? How much flow can it actually handle? Within that, we have a permit from the NJDEP, we refer to as the NJPDES permit, which is the New Jersey Pollution Discharge Elimination System, which is basically the sewer utility. It encompasses all the infrastructure. That is a level within the actual physical capacity of the plant. As far as our permitted levels right now, we're within 70 to 80%, so we're comfortably under. And then in the actual physical capacity of the plant, and the NJPDES permit can be increased over time if and as necessary. Physical capacity, we're under half, less than 50%. So we're more than good.
Wonderful. Very knowledgeable. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Anthony. Go ahead, Margaret.
Anything else on the introduction? Excuse me.
shaking your head? Because it's just an easy question to answer.
But it is,
it's funny
it
because
is an interesting story.
It is interesting story.
Because people forget that it wasn't at one time.
No.
And actually, the founding of the founding of the Whippany River Action Committee was actually a lawsuit brought by another municipality against the city of Morristown for being the primary polluter of the Whippany River.
Yeah.
And the town responded by actually building the plant that we see today.
I was told at one point NJ-PAC was going to be built in Morristown, but we had the ban, the sewer ban on, and it couldn't, and then it ended up going to Newark. And then they built the sewer plant, which they built it 20 times probably larger than we needed. So yes, we have a lot of capacity.
Excellent.
We'll never run out of capacity.
I'll say that lawsuit actually had its genesis in my family living room back when I was growing up.
I'm sure it did. Yeah.
Yeah. My father actually started the lawsuit against the town of Morristown.
So you're responsible for it.
Not me.
Listen, in retrospect, when you think about it, in retrospect, not to
cleaned up
go
the
off-
whole river. They closed down the paper
Right.
mills. It was
not to go off your agenda, but in hindsight, it turned out to be the best thing they ever had.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you. History lesson.
Okay, on the introduction of ordinance O-16-2023, Councilman Armington.
Yes.
Councilwoman Cotton.
Yes.
Councilwoman Foster.
Yes.
Councilman Iannacone.
Yes.
Councilman Silva.
Yes.
Councilman Umbreak.
Yes.
Council President Mayor.
Yes.
Ordinance 16-2023 has been properly introduced by title and will be considered further after a public hearing on June 27th. Ordinance O-17-2023, an ordinance to amend the code of the town of Morristown to add a new section regulating honorary naming of streets in public areas and placement of monuments in the town of Morristown.
I'll make a motion to introduce ordinance O-17-2023.
I'll second.
Any comments or questions?
Just a comment. I noticed that,
Hang on, Tawana.
I'm sorry, okay, so I would just like to say that, I'd like to acknowledge that, there are, organizations and families, who are, really excited that there is an ordinance now for, the street naming. And so I'm happy to see it on the, agenda and, because Councilman Iannacone and Councilman Silva, we all worked really hard on that, so I'm just excited for that, but I just want to acknowledge that. I know it seemed like it took a long time, and so we're finally happy that it's on the agenda and completed.
Thank you. Steve?
the only question or comment I have, and it's more just a comment, I noticed that the petition requires 1% of the voters from the last election or something to that effect, and except when the mayor and the at-large people around this, it's where it's 13,000, 14,000, it's typically 5,000 or 6,000, so 1% is 50 votes, 50 signatures, which is not much of a hurdle, and that was sort of do we think that 50, getting 50 signatures is sufficient? For example, the initiative and referendum process requires 10%, and then the question goes before the council. So in that case, it would be 500 or 600 signatures. So it's just a question, comment. I'm not opposed to it. I'm just.
It actually came up in the discussion, and what was interesting about it is a lot of times you'll find like if it's like Bishop Nazarene Way, for example, it is that local community around that area that's generally interested in it. And it's not going to be the entire town.
Correct.
It's going to be that community,
Yes.
that pocket around it. And that's why they thought that the lower number would be the better number. And it still comes to council for consideration.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Fine.
So, no comments?
No,
Thank you
it's
guys
okay.
for both working on it. Thank you, Councilwoman Cotton, for working on this. Go ahead, Morgan.
On the introduction of ordinance 17-2023, Councilman Armington.
Yes.
Councilwoman Cotton.
Yes.
Councilman Foster.
Yes.
Councilman Iannacone.
Yes.
Councilman Silva.
Yes.
Councilman Umbreak.
Yes.
Council President Mayor.
Yes.
Ordinance 17-2023 has been introduced properly by title and will be considered further after public hearing on June 27th. We have one ordinance for public hearing and adoption, and that's ordinance O-14-2023, an ordinance amending and supplementing the code of the Town of Morristown, Chapter 7 Traffic, Section 40.2, handicap parking on streets for private residences, to add a dedicated handicap parking space for a resident of 19 King Street.
I'll make a motion to adopt ordinance O-14-2023.
I'll second.
At this time, I'll open the floor for a public hearing on ordinance O-14-2023. Hearing none, I'll close the public hearing. Any comments or questions from council? On the adoption of ordinance O-14-2023, Councilman Armington.
Yes.
Councilwoman Cotton.
Yes.
Councilman Foster.
Yes.
Councilman Iannacone.
Yes.
Councilman Silva.
Yes.
Councilman Umbreak.
Yes.
Council President Mayor.
Yes.
Ordinance 14-2023 is adopted. We have 11 resolutions on the agenda. Any to be pulled for separate consideration?
I'd like to pull 82.
Are there any others? I would ask for a motion to adopt resolution number 76 through 81 and 83 through 86-2023.
Ooh, I'll make a motion to adopt resolution 76 through 81 and 83 through 85, 86, 2023.
Correct.
I'll second.
Okay, on the adoption of that motion, Councilman Armington.
Yes.
Councilwoman Cotton.
Yes.
Councilman Foster.
Yes.
Councilman Iannacone.
Yes.
Councilman Silva.
Yes.
Councilman Umbreak.
Yes.
Council President Mayor.
Yes.
Motion carries. Resolution number R-82-2023, resolution authorizing renewal of plenary retail consumption license 1424-33-022-015, issued to DeHart Associates LLC, trading as Tajmu, for the 2023-2024 term, subject to conditions.
I'll make a motion to adopt resolution R-82-2023.
I'll second.
Councilman.
So from when the homestead extension was approved, I'm not sure when it was, 2016, 2017 timeframe, there was a condition that the outdoor dining be closed at 10 p.m. And subsequent to that, I'm not sure when, 2019 or so, 2018, the town adopted zoning code on outdoor dining, which limited, or which required all outdoor dining to stop at 11 p.m. So I brought the discrepancy to the administration, and it looks like they removed that or reset the outdoor dining limit of the outdoor patio at Homestead to 11 p.m. I just wanted to note that. I also note that the police report on all of the license holders showed that there were 14 noise complaints, though no violations per se, ABC violations. I believe it was the only liquor license establishment that had significant number of violations. So, would just say that council's on note, is aware of this, and Homestead, Tajmu should be.
It is a good question. Are we changing what we had in the prior resolution?
We are.
By adopting this resolution without a hearing or without a notice about the change? Because will mention, it's interesting that you picked that up. I did not pick that up because when I read the resolution, it said 11 o'clock, and I always thought maybe it always was 11 o'clock. But now that you're mentioning, I do recollect that there was specific discussion here. You know, there were calls, and again, I give you a lot of credit, Margot. Keeping track of all these licenses is not easy, and the thoroughness of the reports that we got from the police department and from the various agencies in this town, that you did a very nice job with that. But I don't know, and I'll leave this to my fourth ward, because this is now in the fourth ward. At the time, it was in the first ward. But there was a lot of discussion with reference to the front, because it was a space larger than what you would normally see. And there was the doors, and if you remember during the application, we took out and we worked very well with the owners of the Tajmu. They took out the garage doors on the side. They were very responsive in the discussion. But all that being said, do we need to call to the attention to the public? Because when that area was still in my ward, I did get a lot of calls from the people in the new building across the street. I don't know the nature of it now. I will be frank with you. I think I haven't gotten a lot of calls, but maybe because a lot of those uses are out of my ward now because with the redistricting, I'm not getting it. But Sandy, are you?
No, I've not gotten any.
No.
I've gotten more for, St. Patrick's Day last year.
Oh, that's St. Patrick's Day.
Right, yeah, no, I've really not had any. There's more people worried about rooftop dining than Tajmu, Homestead.
Yeah, the only reason I brought it up is because the discrepancy since the town council adopted the zoning change that.
Yeah, I'm wondering if I should get you a legal opinion.
Can we change it?
I don't think you have the authority to change an approval that, I think you're off base on your argument.
I wasn't necessarily.
I will get an opinion from the attorney. I don't think it falls because they use it as a condition of approval. They stay at 10 o'clock. I could be wrong, I'm not an attorney, but we'll have the attorney give you an opinion.
And my recommendation was to draft both of them because I didn't know what the.
I don't think the council has the authority to change the agreement. She's saying I'm correct, but we'll get you a legal opinion.
So I'd make a motion to withdraw the.
That's a good motion.
In fairness to Tajmu, can we amend it to 10 and then reconsider it at 11? You know what I'm saying? This way.
It's not up when we have time for the next meeting. Before the next meeting.
Okay.
So I'd say let us pull this R82 2023 out of consideration, and we'll revisit it after the lawyers and bring it on the next agenda.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, so I have a amended motion to pull 82-2023, or I should say table it to the June 27th meeting.
Yes.
Can I have a second?
A second.
Okay, on the motion to table 82-2023 to the June 27th meeting, Councilman Armington.
Yes.
Councilwoman Cotton. Councilwoman Foster.
Yes.
Councilman Iannacone.
Yes.
Councilman Silva.
Yes.
Councilman Umbriac.
Yes.
Council President Mayor.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay. Moving on to unfinished old business. Leaf blower exemption from the noise ordinance.
So I brought this up because last year when we discussed the possibility of a seasonal restriction.
Can I pause for a second before you go there? Margo, I just want to make sure we didn't miss something. Did we approve Resolution 86 with the municipal budget in your
Yes.
numbers that you gave?
Yes.
That was at our table tonight? Okay,
Yes,
good.
yes, sir.
Thank you, Bob.
So I brought up, in my original discussion, whether or not we should exempt gas-powered leaf blowers from the ordinance, or should we restrict them because of the discrepancy? The administration says they enforce the noise ordinance, though not clearly an active enforcement of the gas-powered leaf blowers.
Don't get complaints.
What?
Don't get complaints.
But I have been surveying residents, and most of them have no idea that use of gas-powered leaf blowers violates the noise ordinance. So, people don't really complain when they, that said.
I should rephrase it. We do get a complaint. It's usually from the third ward council.
Right. My point is, where we want to actively enforce an ordinance, such as the the plastic bag ban, we do a great job. We have people out there. After a year of enforcement, which I've supported, the public know that if they put a plastic bag, a white plastic bag, out on the street without not in a garbage can, they're going to get a mandatory court hearing and fines, and they've more or less stopped that. So that's it. I didn't really want to dwell on this, but I wanted the opportunity to since the council was not able to vote in favor of a restriction of the gas-powered leaf blower, we still have a noise ordinance which, for all intents and purposes, prohibits the use of gas-powered leaf blowers. And should we just exempt gas-powered leaf blowers from the noise ordinance, as we do with snow blowers?
Well, I think you'd have to do something that's all-encompassing, like gas-powered tools, gas-powered snow blowers, weed whackers,
all landscaping equipment.
It would have to be.
And then the question for the attorney would be, if we exempted, frankly, the loudest sources of noise in town, would we really have the ability to enforce the noise ordinance on other things that we felt were not, were a nuisance?
We got some time. I think I was the swing vote on that ordinance.
Yes.
I was the swing vote, so I'm going to put it out there. I think that, there was a certain, what you're talking about here is really courtesy. You know what I mean? Like, for example, you're courteous of your neighbors, you're courteous what's going around on your property when you're working on your property, and that's a lot of what the conversation was. And so, in certain instances, people aren't courteous. So what do? You know what I mean? A lot of us, you got a neighbor next door with a baby, maybe, the nap hours at 2. You get to know, and that's the way we should be, and that's the way the majority of Morristown is. Like the Reverend said before, this is a great town with great people, okay? But the other reality is there's got to be compromise rather than an all-out assault on landscaping equipment. What we were talking about at the time, which I'm still supportive of, is you limit hours. You may even want to consider doing what Montclair and Maplewood did, is you do it during the times of the year that they're actually doing leaf collections. The biggest complaint I hear isn't about the neighbor using her own one leaf blower. It's more about when the landscaping company comes and they're going to be in and out of there in an hour, and they come on and they're on that lawn with an hour with 3 of them, and you could hear it on the green, okay? That's what I'm hearing. So if anybody wants to put forward, maybe Nathan, maybe it is something about landscaping, but maybe what it is codifying what respectful hours of operation should be. And but again, we all feel funny about it because we all believe in our town, we all believe in the people that live in our town, and we know that common courtesy 99% of the time wins, okay, and people are courteous. But if people want to move forward with this question, because really what you're doing is you're asking, do we want to move forward with this question? You're like poking at something that's a very sensitive subject with me, which is the noise ordinance, and everybody knows that too, okay? Because we put the noise ordinance in for a lot of other reasons. Okay, and I want to protect that noise ordinance. I want to protect it. But if it's a matter of putting in something on, like, I think it's a good suggestion, putting something in on landscaping equipment, and we're putting not restrictions on the use, because, things will change. We all know, okay? Things are going to change. You're going to have electric cars in 5 years. You're going to have, it may be in 5 years, there's going to be something other than gas-powered or loud. Things will evolve, hopefully, and we should move with that evolution. But I would be more than happy to consider something that codifies but still permits. But puts some parameters on it. What are you thinking, Pastor?
No, yeah, I was going to say, or we can be patient for 5 more years. I
So this
keep
is
my
what maybe it's swing vote.
I know. No, I keep my position on what I said, last year. Yes, but I believe what you said is about being considered to the neighbor. And in regard to the landscapers, there were some towns that came out with some ordinances that they had to change it because the people that own big houses were suffering because the landscapers couldn't do the work. So they have to, why you don't clean? Because there is an ordinance now, so it creates a big issue.
Yeah, and my position hasn't changed from the beginning, just the biggest issue that I had, and not only did I not, like the idea of limiting how people maintain their property, but I did call, 2 or 3 local landscape companies, and they basically said, we won't take jobs in Morristown if there's restrictions. They can't have a gas-powered crew go out to one location and a battery-operated crew go out to another location. And there needs to be exemptions like golf courses and, big property. There's a lot of considerations that need to be made, so.
And that's why I bring it up. Clearly, there's serious opinions about it, and that we basically shouldn't enforce the noise ordinance. But as government, does that mean we're just putting our blinders on and choosing not to enforce it? Or are we saying in our hearts, we are enforcing it, except not on here and there and there and there and there and there and there? And how does that sway with your obligation to run a town based on laws? So
It's also, I'm not going to put my two cents in this, is it enforceable?
Sorry.
Is it
I'm sorry, are you still?
No, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Tawana, and then we'll let the mayor speak.
Okay, so my concern is that it gives these parents that we're cherry picking who have to follow a noise ordinance. The language is clear in the noise ordinance. And for people who do have complaints, everyone understands a certain time of year there wants to do some of that. It's the term the blower. But we also have to be honest and to recognize that there are people who are just blowing the dirt in front of their storefront or the dirt around the yard. I mean, it's just dump. It has to be. Are we going to have people have these ordinances enforced? And that's what constituents want to know. Are we enforcing the ordinance that we put out there? So, listen, people respect that people have jobs or businesses. However, there's a certain time of the year that don't require the use of that type of flower. And, you have to think about the town on the whole. You have to think about business owners. You have to think about the residents who live here. So, that's another side of it. We have to take everyone's quality of life into into consideration. So that's my thought on this.
Thank you. Mayor Doherty?
I'm not going to weigh in. I'm not going to weigh in. Well, I will weigh in. It's, how do you enforce it? I'm not going to have a police department that runs around enforcing leaf blowers. It's very difficult to enforce, and you're pitting neighbor against neighbor. I talked to the councilman, I experienced it myself. I'm like, wow, you could really hear when you're home all day. And I think there's a shift going on now with, you read about it, I've been following it, that more people are now being pushed back to work. There's a movement on to get people out from their house and back into the workplace. Well, did you experience that, Councilwoman? But I also understand the argument that the councilman makes on noise. And his argument is this, and this I'm reading it wrong. If you're not going to enforce it, don't have it in the
right. The
ordinance.
The prior noise ordinance that we had was there was a good amount of ambiguity in it. You know, it's pretty much said that, you know, basically people should be, you know, they should be quiet, and you know, there wasn't it's the creation, it's the adoption of the 2021 noise ordinance, which sets decibel levels, which makes all landscaping equipment in violation.
Well, in all fairness, that actually is set by the DEP, so it's actually a state regulation. What our ordinance did was put an enforcement mechanism in. And let's be frank, I agree with the mayor, it's a very hard ordinance to enforce, almost next to impossible. However, what does it do? What it does do, it's a public nuisance type of ordinance, and what it does do, and I'm talking about the noise ordinance now, it gives the person the ability to create a platform for discussion. Let me give you another example with another ordinance we passed. Basically, we put another ordinance out there that we aren't supposed to be doing certain work between certain hours, okay? I did get calls, neighbors that felt uncomfortable talking to other neighbors. Okay? And they were wrong, because the landscaping company would show up 7 o'clock on a Saturday, and it wasn't right. Okay? What did I do? I kept it confidential of the person, and I went and I talked to the neighbor, and they stopped. Okay? And in the basis of the conversation, gave me a basis of conversation. Listen, you know, we have this ordinance in town. Nobody wants to call anybody. Just can you please respect it? And they did. They did. Yeah. So what it does, and then the next step, what it does, and again, this is why that noise ordinance is so important, and we fought hard to get it, okay? When you do have to enforce noise because of persistence, because of lack of cooperation, you can call the police and say, hey, can you measure this for me? And sometimes the public has to step in and have that dialogue with the person violating the noise ordinance. And it's good, but it does create that graduation of various discussions that you can have with people, okay? And no, can you enforce it day to day, or you're looking around, looking for, oh, you got to, you know, you can't do that right. No, you're not. That's not right. It's only when it's bothering people and people aren't being respectful of each other. You know, you call a council person, you call the town, and we help facilitate the conversation. If people persist and they continue to be jerks, what are you going to do? Maybe you're going to throw a ticket on them. Okay? So.
Keep discussing it, right?
Oh, no, do we have to?
But I'm ready to discuss murals.
Okay.
I can get that done pretty quickly if you want.
Yeah, go ahead.
So Jillian and I obviously have been looking at different ordinances, and I have a scheduled tour with Westfield. They seem to have a successful mural ordinance. So I've been in touch with that mayor. It looks like the 26th of June is when we're going to do a tour. I don't know if anybody...
Where?
At Westfield.
Westfield, yeah, they have sort of the boilerplate, really good ordinance.
Yeah, and I've had some success with it, so we're going to meet the mayor there, and we'll give you a full report on the mural ordinance.
And the reason I bring it up, and I know that you know, the End of Elm did a mural, and I did some research with Mr. Campbell, James Campbell. Apparently, they're allowed on private property, you know, you just have to send a picture of what the mural is so that he can determine that it's not a sign, and then, you know, except in cases of, you know, basically, then you're subject to sort of First Amendment as to what is you know, appropriate or not. Besides that, everything's legit, and so on the one hand, you know, a little bit more regulation might be a little bit better. On the second hand, you know, wanted to see if you know, we have a great our public art program, though each project, you know, seems to take quite a long time, and you know, if there were opportunities for murals that were you know, that would support, you know, the public art, you know, realm, you know, is that something that the administration might consider?
Well, I think just the fact that, because I think it's a very open question on murals, and,
yes.
And your First Amendment is the key question. What we find to be something that's great, somebody in the community say, why would you ever put a mural up like that?
Yeah.
So to have some regulation, I don't know enough about it, so I want to go research it.
Good.
Before Jillian and I will report back to you what we think, and then you guys can Go forward if you want.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Welcome.
All right, so before we adjourn for the night, I just want to make a couple comments. As everybody knows, Wards 2, 3, and 4 will have new representation on the council next year, starting in January, and I know everybody will serve with honesty, integrity, and respect for the law. And I just want to say, we're all here working till the end of the year, and we're looking forward to the new people stepping up and representing us in our wards. And with that, I will make a motion to adjourn. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Everybody in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you, we're adjourned. Everybody have a nice evening.
Jill.